What's up, everybody? This is Romero Phillips, your favorite real estate agent, here for Week 15. The Chicago Bears versus the Cleveland Browns. And what can I say? It was another loss for the home team, the Cleveland Browns. A treacherous loss, a debacle. What can you say? The Browns were plagued with injury. We understand that team's supposed to fight through injuries and all that, but 4 offensive linemen hurt and Joku was out. That explains why the run game couldn't get off, because if I'm not mistaken, the Browns are a zone blocking running scheme. I'll put it that way. And so when the linemen are not in sync, it's hard to get the running backs going. They did pretty good in the pass protection. They wasn't too bad. They was better than them guys in preseason, I know that. But anyway, Shedeur Sanders. Do we need to talk about Jeudy? No, let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. 18 for 35, 177 yards, and 3 interceptions. It wasn't a good game for him. One thing in his press conference, I kind of don't see what folks are talking about. I think you got a guy who's highly confident, but at the same time, Shedeur Sanders will let you know the only thing, there's no one to blame but him. He need to get more completions. I mean, he said that in an interview. He never throws anybody under the bus. And, people in one of my posts, they didn't like it when I said that he shows great leadership. He seems like he's been here before, and people don't like it when you say that. But hey, so what? He sounds better than a lot of rookies who interview. So, he need to polish up his interviewing skills or whatever. But other than that, it's more than answering the question correctly, I think. He lets you know when he's off. He lets you know when he's making a mistake. And like I said, he owns up to it, and he is right. He has to complete more completions. He got to become better at reading the defense. But I want to tell you something, though. Aside from the blocking, if those receivers do not run with a purpose, we could forget having any kind of passing game. These last few games that we got, who we got? I think the Steelers and the Bills, the Steelers and Cincinnati. We can forget it if they not go run the ball. I mean, if they not go run a route with a purpose, you can sit back in the zone and you don't have to move out of your zone if you're running like you're not getting the ball. They can sit in that zone. Only so much looking off the quarterback will do. Everybody works as a team. But like I said, Shedeur Sanders, I think he took a sack as well. But 18 for 35, not good. That's barely 50% completion rate. So now let's talk about receiving. Isaiah Bond, 2 receptions for 89 yards. And he had 4 targets. But it seemed like Isaiah Bond is Shedeur Sanders' go-to besides Fanning. I mean, we know he loved Fanning. He threw one of those interceptions. And that was, to me, if you look at that play, that's a bad play design. How you got 2 receivers crossing toward the sideline? Of course you're going to be able to squeeze the play. So, but it was an interception. But go watch the play for yourself. You'll see you had 2, and he had to try to touch it in there, which gave the DB or the cornerback time to get under that ball and intercept it. And it was a hell of a play. He threw another interception. I'm going to get to the receivers in a second, but he threw another interception. And I think it was one of them situations with the how the Ravens did him. They baited him into throwing that pass, and they acted like they was going 1-1, but at the last minute, he went back the other way, and by that time, the ball was in the air. And, yeah, that was that. And then let's talk about that Jeudy. Before we get to Bond, let me go to Jeudy stats. 2 receptions for 22 yards, 4 targets. Jerry. It should have been a touchdown. The ultimate pass. I watched a lot of football this season so far. Watched a lot of quarterbacks throwing. I mean, how better of a throw could you get? That ball just went straight up and straight down the court. Jerry Jeudy did a fabulous job of beating the cornerback. I mean, he had him dead to rights. And Shedeur Sanders dropped it where he was supposed to, back shoulder throw. The defender could not see it because he was burnt, so all he could do was just catch up. And what did it do? Hit the pad of Jerry Jeudy. I think it might even hit his hands, and it looked like to me Jerry Jeudy just handed it off to the cornerback. Come on, man. This guy need to go. He had a nerve to sit back and try to argue a few games ago, with Shedeur Sanders about, I guess, understanding route concept or where to place the ball. At the end of the day, both receiver and a quarterback got to be on the same page. But in any successful offense, you need to get to where the quarterback go throw the ball, not where you feel like the ball going to go. And that's just that. And he's the number one receiver on the team. After the game against the Bears, Jeudy, he should definitely, I'm gonna tell you, he should definitely be the fourth option. Period. Matter of fact, he should be relegated to the practice squad, the highest paid practice squad person. That's my opinion. Isaiah Bond, 2 for 89. One of Shedeur Sanders' sure targets, and this guy catches the ball. He's a deep threat. He's a speed guy, and I understand that he was. I think he wasn't drafted, and I understand he should have been drafted, but he had some off the field issues or whatever it was. But Isaiah Bond is the truth, just like Fannin is the truth. 7 for 48 yards. Now, they have taken Fannin away in these last few games only because that's Shedeur's safety outlet. But I got to imagine Buffalo and Pitt go take away Fannin too. So they got to find somebody real fast for Shedeur to throw this ball to, and they got to get that running game going. Somebody got to get in sync with Botonio and say, hey, this is how we need to be blocking. Who else we got? We talked about Jeudy, we talked about Fannin, and some of the other guys, they wasn't making too much noise. Was there any fumbles? There were no fumbles, but like I said, there were 3 interceptions. Carson Schlesinger. I love to say his name, Schlesinger. Here we go. 4 solo tackles. Now, I think they said he had 14 total, in on 14 total, but think about that. In on 14 tackles, but 4 solo tackles. Mr. DiBiase, 4 solo tackles. Ronnie Hickman, 4 solo tackles. Now, DiBiase had 2 tackles for loss. And remember last week, that changes the scheme of the offense a whole lot. And I got to give some credit to Caleb Williams. They got the truth. Even though I think that we should have had him sacked more times than what we did, but I got to hand it to him. Caleb Williams, he do his thing. Let's get back to Miles Harden, oh, wait a minute, I went down too far. Oh, yeah, I'm reading the defense. Here we go. Miles Harden. Here we go. What did I call him last week? Burn machine. You know what I'm saying? But he had 2 solo tackles, though. But I just don't understand this guy. He can't check nobody. He remind me of Newsom. Always trailing the play. Always trailing the receiver. Man, stop it. Tyson Campbell, 3 solo tackles. The infamous Myles Garrett. And I think it was garbage. 1.5 sacks. I think he had 2 sacks that game. But anyway, he had 2 solo tackles and he had a tackle for loss. Alex Wright, he had 1 solo tackle and 1 sack and a tackle for loss. Let me go down to some of these other guys down here that got these tackle for loss. Sam Kamara, he had 2 solo tackles and 2 tackles for loss. Tell you, those tackles for loss mean something in the game, but in this game, we just couldn't get in sync. Then we had Shelby Harris. He had that half set. He shared that half set with Myles Garrett. Now, in the beginning of the game, some folks with their little conspiracy theories are saying that they had the wrong play cards and the wristbands and all that. All that stuff is here nor there. One thing I know for sure, the Browns got more problems than play cards in the wristband. And like I said, two of those things are apparent. The O-line and the wide receivers. If you don't address that in the draft, Mr. Andrew Berry, Mr. Jimmy Haslam, if you pulling the strings, and Kevin Stefanski, if you happen to still be here, if you don't address the O-line and you don't address the receiving group, we gonna be in the same situation next year, talking about what coulda, shoulda, and woulda, and whether Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback or not. All he gonna do is have more experience throwing to buster type receivers like Jerry Jeudy. And I hate to say that about him, but Jerry Jeudy, he got to go. I don't care how much money we owe him. I'd rather see Deshaun Watson throwing the ball than to see Jerry Jeudy catching another pass for the Browns. And with that, I'm out.